Hello, how are you? Welcome to the Whole Health Project. Today, myself, Augusto Vegas, I'm going to be delivering a talk, a chat, called Living, Understanding the Human Body and Mind from an Evolutionary Perspective, which is going to be shown in live on the Whole Health group, no? Whole Health by Rachel and Lucy, which of course you are watching right now. So you know the talk will be saved, so if you'd rather watch it later, you can just simply go back to the book and watch it then. Also, you can recommend some friends to join the group later if you think this talk is of value, could be of value to them. Just in case, my PayPal link account is on the description of the talk, so by the end, if you feel you've gotten some value out of it, then feel free to give a donation. That's suggested amount is $5, but of course it is just a suggestion and you don't have to, so please just enjoy. So us humans and living on Earth, like you all are aware of, humans as a species, we've been able to colonize pretty much the whole planet over a period of hundreds of thousands, millions of years. No matter where on Earth you look towards, you're going to see that humans have been there before or are there right now. And this includes mountains, deserts, forests of all sorts, coastal lands, even some of us spend a lot of time in the ocean, etc. No matter where you look at on Earth, humans have been able to basically make a successful living on it. Nowadays, possibly, it seems a little bit easy to achieve this. However, if you look back to a few millions of years ago, you would probably realize that it wasn't an easy task. It wasn't so easy to make a life on Earth if you were just a human equipped with your mind and body. Pretty much no tools, nothing to protect us. So what do you think allowed us to colonize, to make a successful life on Earth throughout all these generations, throughout all these periods? This talk is about helping us raise awareness, come to know some inner systems, inner functions that are extremely smart. They are extremely smart because they've allowed humans to make a successful life on Earth over a period of millions of years. Nevertheless, they are also very primal. They are very old. Now, the same functions, the same systems that allowed, let's say, humans to make a life on Earth millions of years ago are the same systems that we possess nowadays. And because they are so primal, so old, yet very wise and very effective, it is important to recognize them, to make sure we are giving them what they need, so in return, they can take care of us. Make sense? So I am going to name these inner systems, inner functions. These inner systems, inner functions that have allowed humans to make a successful life on Earth over a period of millions of years, from way in the past to today. All right, so these inner systems, inner functions would be our reproductive system that allows us to multiply as a species, our immune system that allows us to deal with infections, our digestive system that allows us to get nourishment from our environment or surroundings so we can keep on going, our growth and repair, which allows us to be fixed when we get broken, and also gain physical adaptations so that we are able to, go through bigger challenges the next day. And of course, super important, the adrenal system or the fight or flight system that allows us to basically solve problems. Whenever we are in danger, this system kicks in and helps us overcome the task at hand. All right, so these 5 systems, reproductive, immune, growth and repair, digestive, and fight or flight or adrenals, have been with us for millions of years. They are super smart, yet very primal. So we've said that a bit of the purpose of this talk is help you raise awareness on what these systems are all about and how we can take care of them. So I'm going to draw a human here, all right? Simple art, just to make a point. So we have a human standing on Earth. And I'm going to draw mountains, trees, some grasses, and of course some animals. Some fish in the ocean, etc. You get the picture. Simple art, but just to make a point. So, back in the day, millions of years ago, for this individual to provide his inner systems with what they needed. So in return, they could look after him or her. All this person had to do was interact with his or her natural surroundings. The moment this person came down from the tree, walked out of the cave, this person had to interact with its environment. Okay? Now, back then, nature was super abundant, yet very unforgiving. We couldn't afford to make mistakes. A mistake would cost us our lives. We made the wrong choice of food, could be deadly, or we were a bit distracted and we couldn't hear a predator coming behind us, it'll be the end. Or if we weren't skillful enough, we wouldn't be able to find the food we needed or find shelter when the weather got a little rough. So, back in the days, the rawness, the hardships nature threw at us made it very important for us to be extremely aware every time we were awake. Okay? And have a very skillful interaction with nature. If an interaction with nature wasn't skillful, wasn't that connected, we had very little chances of making it to the next day. Okay? So back then, there was very little protecting us from our surroundings. Okay? We were very exposed. Now, that added an element of danger, an element of risk. However, it also made it much simpler to provide our inner systems with what they needed. Okay? I'm going to change colors. Now, when a human, an individual, is interacting with her surroundings, I am going to name 3 very important cornerstones that need to be taken in consideration. Okay? One is that of challenge, mental and physical. Another one is that of food or nourishment. And another, as important as these two, is that other corner or pillar of rest and relaxation / enjoyment. Okay? So, provided our interaction with our surroundings respected these 3 pillars, our chances of delivering to our inner systems with what they needed was extremely high. If we were exposed to challenges relatively often, that'll provide our inner systems with feedback on the type of body that we would need the next day, and the type of mind that we would need later on. So mental and physical challenge need to be present in our day-to-day. Also, we had to make sure that this body received its food. Okay? This didn't mean food had to be perfect or abundant all the time, but that most of the time we had to make smart food choices. Okay? And last but not least is the pillar or the cornerstone of rest and relaxation. Okay? Sleeping enough, or once the challenge was gone, have the ability to just chill out a little and rest. Or after we've eaten a big meal or we've hunted like a big animal, it is time to rest so we can eat and get nourishment. So, if our interaction with our surroundings was successful, chances are we were being very skillful in how we were respecting our need for challenge, mental and physical. We were respecting our need for food, and we were respecting our need of rest and relaxation. Okay? So back in the days, all a human had to do in order to respect these three pillars of health was basically have a smart, skillful interaction with his or her environment. Okay, it was an environment that allowed very little space for mistakes. You made a mistake and chances are you were not going to wake up the next day, all right? So we had to have this a very intimate connection, a very deep connection with nature around us. Now, I'm going to erase my amazing art and I'm going to draw a little graphic, okay? There we go. Okay? Change colors, keep it interesting. So, let's say a skillful, successful interaction with our surroundings back in the days, or in general, for a human in general, would result in something like this, okay? We spend part of our day, our week, our month, our year dealing with challenges, solving problems, figuring out ways to put food on our table, making sure we don't get killed by a big predator, or basically dealing with stress in the office at work, if it's the present. Okay, we spend part of our time on the top part of the graph when we are dealing with challenges, solving problems, and part of the graph, part of our days, on the bottom part of the graph when it's time to chill out, rest. Okay? Now, it is very important that for most of our lives, our time spent on the top part of the graph when we are dealing with problems, challenges, is the same or very similar, very close to the amount of time, the volume of time we spend on the bottom part of the graph when we are resting. Now, why is this important? Because the 5 inner systems that are very primal yet very smart, that take care of us, cannot be switched on, cannot be doing their work all the time because they get tired, they get burnt out. All right? So, for example, do you think if you were being chased by a predator, let's say a big tiger, suddenly your immune system would tell you, hey, stop running because I want to deal with infection first? Of course not. Or if you suddenly had an amazing meal in front of you and you were about to eat it, but something else appears, like a danger or a problem that needs to be sorted right now, there is no way you'll be able to eat or digest that food. It doesn't work. So, the only system that is switched on, primarily, when we are dealing with problems are the adrenals, the fight or flight, up here. Whilst the 4 other systems, and by this I mean reproductive, immune, growth and repair, and digestive, are switched on primarily when we are in resting mode, when we are in chill out mode, which is when the danger, the problems are gone. Why does this work like this? Because even though these systems are very wise, very efficient, and they've taken us through millions of years of evolution, these systems are also very primal. So that means that they cannot recognize differences between stressors. So whether you were being chased by a tiger or you were simply having an argument at home or the office, these inner systems cannot tell the difference. They just feel stress, problem solving. Okay, let's switch off the others. Okay? So, so far so good? I hope so. I hope all is clear so far. Now, what is happening in modern times? Okay, what is happening in modern times? In modern times, of course, over so many years of evolution, our brains have got bigger and we've become smarter as a species. So this has started to happen. This human being has started developing a little cushion, a little buffer around him, around her. All right, I'm going to draw a little bit of a suit. I'm going to make this guy look like a Teletubby. Okay. Okay, so through years of evolution, of thinking new ideas, designing tools, etc., slowly, in our quest for, let's say, to survive easier, humans have developed a little bit of a cushion, a buffer between them and their environment. And this cushion, this buffer, allows them to, let's say, not be so connected to the environment, because if you made a mistake, no problem. I cannot hunt food today, no stress, because I have a fridge. Or the weather changed and I have no crops, no problem. I have money in the bank, I can go and buy. All right? So, to some extent, this cushion, this buffer between us and our surroundings have made it easier for humans to survive. Nevertheless, has made it easier to survive in general terms. However, it's made it a lot harder for us to respect the needs of our inner systems. So nowadays humans need to be a lot more aware in figuring out ways to give these inner systems what they need so that they can take care of us. So we are going to go back to the triangle of optimum health, okay? So here I have the pillar of challenge, here I have the pillar of food or nourishment, and here the pillar of rest and relaxation, okay? And here I'm going to draw the human nowadays with his nice cushion, okay? So nowadays, because of this cushion, this buffer between us and surroundings, let's say you're living in a city, you're living a very busy life in a city, you barely have time to exercise or be physically active, maybe suddenly you are providing your mind with a lot of mental challenge, because you are solving problems at work. However, maybe you are disrespecting your body's needs for physical challenge. So maybe this cornerstone is not being fully respected, all right? Or maybe your choices of food are far from being ideal for you as a species. Or maybe you're eating amazing, you are doing a lot of sports and super active, yet you are not respecting your need for rest. All right? And of course, you disrespect any of these pillars for a period of time and the body is not going to break. We are not made out of crystal. And life sometimes throws surprises at us, which means we simply need to adjust. So sometimes we cannot move. For example, nowadays, for the last weeks, most of humanity is being in lockdown, so maybe our physical challenge is not present in the day-to-day, just to make a point. But that doesn't mean that we are going to get broken as a species, because we are very resilient. We are a very adaptable, resilient species. Point is, be aware nowadays that even though our inner systems are very smart, they are very primal, okay? They are very primal and they still have primal needs. So be sure to provide these inner systems, yourself, with enough physical and mental challenge, all right? That you're making smart food choices most of the time, and that you're respecting your need for rest and relaxation. All right? Now, for example, what could be simple ways to give your body challenge, physical challenge? Back then, millions of years ago, all you had to do was go and hunt, go and collect food. And nature would throw so many challenges at you that it was enough to keep you physically fit to interact in that surroundings. But nowadays, that things have got a lot safer, that a lot of us can, let's say, earn money without the need of being too physical. Then we need to figure out other ways of providing our beings with physical challenge. Sports, simple example, activities in nature, etc., you name it. And also the need for mental challenge. Okay? Let's say your job is getting too boring, probably it's time to move on and find a new one, to give you an idea. Indicators that you are under challenging your body physically are going to be possibly that you're going to be losing physical capabilities. Some joints are going to get a little bit stiff, some muscles a little bit weak. Maybe your body shape is going to start changing, your posture is going to start changing. Symptoms or signals that you're giving your body too much physical challenge could be maybe lack of energy, injuries, to give you a few examples. And other ways to recognize where you are being under challenging your mind, a very easy one to spot is boredom. When boredom starts to appear too often, normally it's a signal that you need more mental challenge in your life. Whilst on the other hand, if you are someone that is always very upbeat, super enthusiastic about most of the things you're engaged on, chances are you're providing your body with just the right amount of challenge so that your inner systems get their challenge dose. What about food? How can you tell if you are giving yourself the right food most of the time? Well, you should be aware that as humans, perfect food hasn't been available all the time. All right, for moments of abundance, of course, it was super easy to get what we needed, but suddenly weather changed or patterns changed and suddenly food wasn't there. And that didn't mean we were done as a species. Probably it meant we had to think out of the box, learn to eat new things. Probably things that initially were far from being ideal, but eventually we figure out a way how to get nourishment from them. So don't stress too much if your food choices are not perfect too often, but make sure that they are good enough most of the time. Some guidelines of what are smart, good food choices for a human is most of the time you want to be eating real food that has a shape that you could recognize in nature. All right? Ideally, food that doesn't come in a package that you read the label and have too many things that you cannot even pronounce. You should also be aware that for millions of years we thrived on fruits and green leaves. So especially green leaves are amazing for us. It's a no-brainer to eat your dose of green leaves every day or every few days. And also you should be aware that the amount of nourishment you're going to get from something will be in relation to how nourished that plant or that animal was. A good rule to follow is follow the sun. So sun shines in the ocean, makes plankton. The closer we feed to plankton, let's say small fish for example, would be better than bigger fish and much better than farmed fish. Okay, the closer to the source of energy from the sun, the healthier that food is going to be. Same with grass or plants. Sun shines on grass. Grass-feeding animals will be much healthier than farmed animals. To give you an idea, on plants in general, of course, are enormously beneficial for us, especially if we start to play a lot with different colors, different textures, and different ways of preparation. All right? General guidelines. Okay? So most of the time, we want to be respecting our need for physical and mental challenge. Okay? Most of the time, we want to be making smart food choices, but don't stress too much if they are not perfect all the time. We are not made out of crystal, and perfect food wasn't available for us constantly. All right? So we can cope with scarcity or lack of variety for short periods. All right? And as important as challenge and nourishment, remember, is that need to rest and relax. Okay? Make sure you're sleeping your 8 hours a night, plus minus. Don't feel guilty for taking a nap after lunch if you feel a little tired. That phone call on a Friday night of some friends asking you to come and eat some pizzas and bring some beers, maybe it's not ideal from the point of view of amazing food, healthy food, but it's amazing from the point of view of chilling out, having a laugh with good friends. All right? Now, when this human figures out a way to respect his 3 pillars of health, challenge, food, and rest, something interesting happens. Okay, I'm going to go back to the line of optimum health. Okay, and once again, I'm going to draw my oscillating line. So, when an individual respects challenge, food, and rest, not necessarily to perfection, but good enough, something interesting happens. The amount of time we're spending above the graph will be very close, very similar, or even equal, if we're lucky, to the volume the area of the curve below the graph. And why is this important? Once again, our 5 systems, our 5 functions that have helped us overcome like so many things over generations cannot be switched on all the time. So remember, when we are dealing with stressors, dealing with problems, our adrenals, fight or flight, is switched on, which switches off immune, digestive, reproductive, and growth and repair. Okay? Now, where am I heading to? So, when we are dealing with problems, adrenals, fight or flight switches on, and the other 4 switch off. Whilst when I am chilling out, suddenly reproductive switches on, immune switches on, so suddenly it can start helping us deal with infections, digestive switches on. Finally, after all the hard work to get all the food, we are going to be able to get nourishment from it. And if we had any little physical injuries, or it's time to evolve into a stronger, smarter version of ourselves, our growth and repair kicks in. But this only happens when we are in the bottom part of the graph, when we are in chill out mode. All right? Why am I stressing this or mentioning this over and over and over? Because nowadays, in modern times, especially in developed cities, especially in developed busy cities where a lot of us are living a very, let's say, stressful life, we are tending, a lot of us, to spend most of our times, most of our day-to-days on the top part of the graph. So a lot of humans, their curve is going to look a little bit like this. They're going to be here, spending longer on the top and shorter on the bottom. And once again, it is not the end of the world, because we are a very resilient species. We don't need a perfect triangle of health all the time. But if this keeps going for too long, eventually we're going to get a flat tire. Eventually things are going to start breaking down. Now, the tricky thing is that when something breaks down, it is normally the end expression of something that has been building up for a long time. So if you try to do a quick fix to the expression of the ailment, the disease, whatever got broken, if you don't correct your daily habits, chances are this broken system will express again somewhere else. All right? So nowadays, especially if we're living in busy, stressful cities, busy cities where people are living a very fast-paced life, if we're spending too long on the top part of the graph, on the challenge part of the graph, particularly mental challenge, guess what systems are being sacrificed? Well, guess what systems are not getting what they need? Immune. It gets harder to our immune system to take care of us. Reproductive, which explains why so many women are finding it hard to get pregnant if they are having a very stressful life. Rather than going to the doctor and getting all these medications and treatments, probably all they had to do was take a holiday, and voila, they got pregnant. Or let's say growth and repair. Suddenly we are, let's say, overtraining, or we are like a bit obsessed with sports. Suddenly we get injuries. And digestive system, which maybe we are working so hard to buy all this food, but we are not giving time for our body to get from this food what it could get from this food. And just so you're aware, our digestive system is one of the, all of them are very important, but the digestive system is extremely important. No, we really want a very healthy digestive system. So, as important as dealing with stressors, dealing with problems, going to work, showing up to challenges, is giving yourself time to spend on the bottom part of the graph and relax and rest. Okay? This is easier said than done. All right? This is very hard for someone that is used to dealing with problems, challenges, solving things in the office all the time, to find a space to, you know what, I want to lay back, take a breath, and chill out. All right? It is quite hard. But I hope that with this talk, you recognize the importance of resting, of not letting your mind take you on endless worries, because it's going to affect your immune, digestive, reproductive, and growth and repair. Okay? Cool. What did I want to add? And following. Okay? So our minds, our brains, are very smart. No? At some point in our journey of evolution, some say when we were able to hunt animals and eventually cook it, that we got enough nourishment to keep our brains going with the amount of food that they actually, amount of energy that they needed throughout the day. So at some point our brains got bigger, and with bigger brains came, I guess, a lot more problem solving, but also a lot more problems to solve. Now, one of the functions that we possess as a species is the ability to create, let's say, abstract realities. No, we can think of something, make a plan before the actual event happens, and this can basically help us make smarter choices. For example, I was about to leave the cave, but I remember, you know what, yesterday I walked out of the cave, and when I turned right, the tiger was right there. Today, I'm going to exit the cave through the back window, and I'm going to surprise the tiger that I'm sure is going to be waiting for me there. All right? So this ability to create abstract realities allows us to make plans, to run through our brains a situation several times before we actually engage with reality, which came with enormous benefits. However, this ability to create abstract scenarios before they happen, nowadays in the city where there is there's bills to pay, there's events in the future, and where there's long-term investments, suddenly can make us worry or anticipate too much to problems. So especially during these days where a lot of us are locked down at home, where we cannot carry on with our daily tasks, our responsibilities, or a lot of us have lost our jobs, chances are our brains are being overly active. And of course, it's very important to keep them active, because we are going to need to re-engage with the day-to-day and start making a life again. But keep in mind that if you keep it overly active to the point that it starts to affect with your sleep, to the point where you're feeling a little restless most of your day, keep in mind that that will affect your immune, reproductive, digestive, and growth and repair, which are as important as dealing with problems. So the same way you are dealing with challenges, the same amount, the same volume, you want to respect your need to relax, to rest, to enjoy, to play. It's as important. All right? And to finish, one last thing. I hope you're getting something interesting from all this. I'm feeling super grateful to have this space to share with you. So we've talked about all the 5 inner systems, how they take care of us, and what we need to do in order to take care of them. Basically, we need to respect our need for challenge, our need for good nourishment most of the time, or a need for rest and relaxation. These 3 take care of our systems, which in return take care of us. Now, one other thing, and that's more brain related. So I'm going to draw again a human being. And this human being needs to make decisions, needs to have a direction in life. All right, I'm going to draw an arrow. I'm not shooting my human, by the way. It's just an arrow showing the direction this person is walking. Okay? So, you are aware, our brains or minds are the most plastic of all of our functions, of all of our properties. Our body is designed to get feedback from the environment and evolve over a period of hundreds of thousands of years. So physical evolution takes time. Okay? We can evolve like mildly, through training, etc., but actual solid evolution, like species transformation, take millions of years, hundreds of thousands of years. However, our minds are extremely plastic. Today I can be thinking of this tomorrow, suddenly I've changed my beliefs. No, I don't believe in that anymore. I believe in this. And I want to talk another language. So our minds, brains are extremely plastic. Okay? Super adaptable. However, deep inside, they have a very primal software. A software that has been with us since the beginning. Okay? And this software points us in the following direction. This software guides us to always be in the quest for pleasure. If we're cold, we want to be warm. If I'm hungry, I want to eat. We also like, deep in our brains, to have a purpose. So hardwired, we have the need to have a purpose in life. I guarantee you that if you ever look at a wild animal doing something in nature, that you'll be able to establish why that animal or that plant is doing what it's doing. No, they don't like to waste. They don't like to do, let's say, things that are going to work against them, against their survival. Okay, they can't afford. So if they go in that direction, chances are it's because in that direction they can find food. And they are extremely good at finding food in that place. If they are flying in that direction, it's because winter is coming there and they need to look for warmth down there. So everything in nature has a purpose. So hardwired, we have our need, our quest for pleasure. We like to have a purpose. And also as a species, we have that little survival chip, all right? We want to be smart with our resources. We want to make decisions that allows us to basically get food, not waste energy. And also we are very resilient. We don't get broken easily. We understand that we can take challenges, and we have a very high chance of succeeding at them. So we have hardwired the quest for pleasure, the need for a purpose, and the fact that we are always aiming for survival. Now, back in the days when nature was so raw, so unforgiving, it kept our quest in check. Okay? We couldn't abuse or misuse our search for pleasure. We had to be very smart with our decisions because our purpose was to get food and find shelter, keeping things simple. And we were quite resilient. We didn't get broken easily. We weren't so precious. My God, I don't like to eat. That doesn't taste good. And the other guy goes, yes, man, but we haven't been able to find anything else, so go and eat that stuff. Because otherwise we're not going to make it for tomorrow. We were not so precious. Okay. Now, keep in mind, we're still hardwired with a quest for pleasure, purpose, and survival. Nevertheless, the cushion that we've built around us has made it a little bit harder to keep this quest in the direction that they should go most of the time. So nowadays, in modern times, where we have these buffers, these cushions between us and nature, it is harder to fine-tune our direction in life. So every once in a while, ask yourself, is my quest for pleasure respecting my needs as a species often enough? Check your purpose in life. And don't be too precious. All right, don't be too precious. Be aware that as a species, we've gone through so many challenges, no, in life. Millions of years overcoming scarcity of food, changing weather, diseases, infections, and humans have figured out a way to wake up the next day stronger. This hasn't come at an easy price, at a cheap price. It's come at a very high price. But as a species, our inner systems, our hardwired software have allowed this to happen. All right? Well, that's all I had to share with you today. I hope it's been fun and enjoyable. Just so you're aware, this chat talk is going to be saved in the Facebook group, Whole Health with Rachel and Lucy. So in the event that you want to watch it again or recommend it to someone, please feel free to send them in this direction. Also, don't forget, if you'd like to donate a little, my PayPal link is also in the description of this talk. Thanks for your time. And if there's any questions, please just write them underneath and I'll be happy to answer them in the following days. Have a good evening.